Well, listen, guys, first things first, thanks for taking the time to do this. It's always fun to speak to the other side of the world. Still can never get used to those time zones. It's 11 a.m. here. It's like 7, 8 o'clock over there. First things first, how's your day going?
Yeah, I had a
Yeah,
pretty busy day, pretty busy Monday. Um, been in the studio since I got home, um, working on some mixing stuff. Um, Jack, how's your day,
yeah,
brother?
good man. Just kind of went to work, nothing too exciting. Pretty cruisy day. Um, yeah, honestly, it's just a bit of a Monday. Nothing too exciting so far, but I've been
What do you have on
hanging
today,
out for
brother?
this actually.
It is a Monday. It is what it is. It's real life shit. You got to do work. You got to make the money to carry on. But overall, how's everybody doing in the We Burn Bridges camp? Everything going quite well for you at the moment? You feel quite energized and excited about things?
Absolutely, I reckon it's been like definitely the best year we've had. Mainly because we've been able to release some new music, which is super exciting. As well as just have a few other things in the works while doing that as well. And so vibes have definitely been very high. And yeah, it's just been really fun again, which is awesome. Like when the band stuff is not only like achieving stuff and doing well, but just fun. Like I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We're keeping busy. Um, you know, sorting out the sort of the next sort of release. After these couple singles that we have released. Trying to have a lot of fun with it. Um, yeah, everyone's having a great time. We've got a show coming up, like our first headliner show in 3 years, I think. That's more so because we've had some lineup issues over the past couple of years, and since we have returned this year, we're really building up to that show. So
Mm.
that's going to be super important for us. Um, yeah, so we're super keen for that. That's in December.
You're going back to what you just said there, Jack, about it being what your best year, or you feel like it's your best year. Is there any specific thing that you can put your finger on as to why you feel that is the case? I mean, you used the word fun. Are you having more fun now than you've had in the past?
Maybe a little bit. And I think that kind of just ties in with everyone kind of being a bit more on the same page. We've definitely all matured a little bit more as well.
Hmm.
Um, Both, I guess, as artists, but also just in general, like we've gotten a bit older. We're starting to take things a little bit more seriously. Everyone's time and stuff is a lot more valued, and it's also being put in as well, which is like super exciting. So it's been not only fun in general, but I guess it's been almost easier in a way as well because everyone is almost on that same page and we're all kind of just working together really well, which is, yeah, pretty key in a band, I guess.
I think the dynamics better than it ever has been with the
Yeah.
boys. Um, just probably just more of a case of everyone growing up a bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the dynamics great, and being in a couple bands, that's hard to come by. Um, yeah.
Yeah. It absolutely is. It takes time as well, and maturity is such a major part of it. Well, with that in mind, then, how much of an effect has the past few years had on that mindset and your maturity, as it were? And I'm talking about effectively the COVID-19 segment of the world / the lockdowns, because obviously we're well aware that Australia has been very up and down in regards to in and out of lockdowns and stuff like that.
I
Mm.
think whilst COVID was happening,
Mm.
um, that was kind of when we were having a couple lineup issues, and that was more so to do with the fact that two of our core at the time band members had departed down south to other cities in Australia. So that left myself, Jack, and Alistair up in Darwin. We kind of just we didn't disband, but we just the boys are gone. It was our thing. We'll stop. 2021 came about. Was it last year, Jack? And then Luke
Yeah.
came back. So our drummer returned back to Darwin. And we thought, hey, let's get this going again. So we did. And the because I know how bad obviously COVID has been in the UK. It's been was fucking mental.
Mm.
Definitely wasn't as severe in Australia, especially up in Darwin. We had we we're very lucky up in Darwin. I think we had quite a bit of freedom. You know, no significant lockdowns of any sort. Like, you know, we would have locked down for a total of initially, was it a month, 2 months, Jack?
Yeah, something like that. I think
And
everyone's view of COVID in Australia is a bit tainted because you hear of like Melbourne being locked down for like 278 days in a year or something like that. We were very blessed and didn't have that issue. And it was a lot more free to roam. I actually never stopped working either. So, yeah, it was very different.
I think it can never be understated as well. People who've never been to Australia perhaps don't know the land as well. When members do move to another part of the country, it's not like in the UK where you can just drive for 2 hours straight and be in another city. It's not quite the same, is it?
No,
no,
exactly.
absolutely
So,
not.
yeah,
Yeah.
bit far
That's
away.
so true, isn't it?
It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. I know. You guys aren't the first Australian band I've spoken to over the past few years. So I've really got an understanding over the years of the lay of the land. I've never been myself, but really kind of
Yeah.
getting the understanding of how the country works.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the recent release of your latest single, Death Curse. It's got a solid amount of buzz around it since release. I think what was the 1st of September, right?
Yeah. 1st of
Yeah.
September was the release. And we've been pretty happy with it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was definitely a bit of a new direction for us. I mean, you can obviously hear the core elements of I guess bridges in there for sure, but we were very interested to see how that kind of rapping element would go and what the kind of feedback we would get would be. But it's been really positive, and to have it coupled with the music video as well, yeah, it's been really good, really great feedback, and happy with how it's been going.
What did you initially envision with this track when you first sort of started to build it and work on it? Did you have a specific vision of what you wanted to sound / look like? And did the end result match what that vision was?
I think when we initially set out to write the track, it was just a couple riffs and some drums, and it sort of accumulated into this yeah, there was this big drum breakdown that our drummer Luke wrote in the song, and he sent me that, and it's like, okay, let's put this drum part after the riffs, and what's going to come after this drum bit? Surely like a big sort of climatic ending sequence. And then we sort of thought it had a lot of sort of your sub synth elements, which are very reflective of a lot of old horror movies that we sort of like, and especially myself. So we try to tap into that a bit. And then we're kind of thinking, holy shit, this is sort of looking a bit like the sort of looking a bit like a movie structure. You know, you've got the start, a horror structure, as an old slasher sort of movie, where you've got your intro, and then you've got this middle act, and then right at the end you've got sort of the big climax with the killer and everything, and we really tried to play into that with the lyric writing and you know the rapping as well, and getting that element in there was super fun. And it definitely, we knew where we wanted to go with the song, and I think confidently to say we did get there. It took a while, but yeah, we did get there in the end with the song. So
Yeah, and I think too, like originally, I don't think we wrote the song with intention for there to necessarily be rap verses in it either. It was kind of just we had those parts and we were wondering what we were going to do to fill it in. And I really enjoy my 90s hip hop, and I was kind of thinking like, yeah, we could do like screamed or like some different kind of vocal things there, but then I was like, what if we had like a rap verse, and how would that look? And then it just kind of evolved from there really. And it was obviously like, oh well, am I going to do it? And I wasn't overly confident, but BK, the guy who we have on the track, actually used to play guitar for We Burn Bridges a few years ago. So friend of the band and friend in general, and it just kind of all fell into place really well.
Well, how did that collaboration come back? So obviously you have that previous relationship. Did you just go to him and say, hey, we want to do this. Do you want to give it a go?
Pretty much. We basically sent him the song, and there was the 2 spaces for the verses, and we just basically said, hey man, this is kind of the concept we had. Here's our current lyrical content. It's basically set up as Nolly was saying, kind of like a slasher movie, like building up to a kill scene. And would you be interested, and what can you come back with? And I shit you not, it was like that same night, I'm pretty sure, he's like, oh, what about this? And just flicked it back. And I think we were all in the studio, and we kind of just like all looked at each other and were like, what the fuck? That's so sick. And
Brandon's really talented when it comes to freestyle rapping. He's an absolute gun.
Yeah, he is.
And
he won't tell you that, but he's super humble about it. But yeah.
So no doubts, no issues, just straight away, that is absolutely banging.
Yeah, we're very confident when we sent it to him that we'd get something back fairly like solid. And we're like, yeah, that's great. When are you going to come in and we'll record it and sort of get it in the session? And yeah, it worked out really well.
The end result speaks for itself. You already mentioned as well, obviously it comes attached with a very, very cool video. The video then, talk about working on that and what you had envisioned with that, and how much fun / how difficult it was, because I know these things can be a real pain.
I reckon my favorite part of it was the kill scene and being there for that, because it was select few of us, and you know the band shots were done. They're always a pain. They always kind of suck. Yeah. And you know the kill scene was fun because we just got to, our friend Tom, you know, covered him in fake blood and pretended to kill him. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Jack was the killer.
It was really cool. So. Yeah, it was really cool too, because we had discussed that we wanted to release a video with this track. And previously we'd kind of looked at doing a music video for something, filmed some stuff, and it just didn't really work out the way we kind of wanted. And so we were a bit disheartened about like doing videos. But big ups to Manoli for being like, nah, I've got an idea as to what we can do here. Let's see if we can like execute it. And we're very lucky in the way that one of our friends, Jaden, who filmed the video, that's like what he does for a job. He's a cameraman and edits videos, and he was happy to help us out. And yeah, it really did just come together, and it was awesome to see Manoli's vision kind of come to life.
Do you find yourself kind of judging the success of, say, the music video and all that based off things like views and YouTube and that side of things? I know it can get a bit obsessive when you're in a band, when you've got to study stats, be them streaming, be them views, be them likes, and so on. Is that an aspect you find yourself obsessing over, or are you able to distance yourself from that?
We definitely find ourselves probably getting caught up in that kind of thing. But something really cool is when you've got people that like actively reach out to you, and you know they'll message you on the band account, and they'll be like, holy shit, just heard this on somewhere, it's great, keep it up. That's probably like my favorite sort of thing to go off. So when that starts to happen, you're like, oh yeah, cool, this is great, you know, must be on the right track for it. But yeah, absolutely, you know, numbers and stats is definitely, you do get caught up in that kind of thing.
100%.
We're talking about then We Burn Bridges in general. What sort of things inspire music, be them personal or impersonal? Are you very much an internal band? You look inside and see what you're feeling, or do you look at the window, see the state of the world, and utilize that?
I think it varies. So like the first EP that we released was called Head Prison. And for that EP, I pretty much wrote all of the lyrics for that one.
Yeah.
And that was very much my personal kind of battles with stuff I was going through at the time. Whereas our latest music, we've kind of, for the most part, been in a room together, and put it all together. So like both lyrically, like everyone's kind of helped out lyrics, as well as like the music side of it as well. So it's changed actually over time, and I don't know if that is through maturity or just trying new things as a band. But yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it for sure.
I think one thing with the writing, and everyone's sort of contributing and into a say with the lyrics, and just the music overall, is we being less serious, I think.
Okay.
Was something that was very apparent when we had sort of reformed after Luke had come back to Darwin. We were doing it because we wanted to have fun, and because that's why we sort of did it in the first place. So we thought, let's really have fun with this, and let's not think too hard about that. Let's move on and let's sort of do this instead. And keep it fun. So that's one thing that we really tried to do. Hence maybe writing about things that aren't so serious, like horror movies and stuff like that. Previously, the lyrical content in our other EPs, much different from pop culture. So yeah,
it's always about circumstances as much as anything else, I think, as well. If you say that if there was a reason to write perhaps more personal years down the line, I'm sure that would come up. But when it comes to sharing, as you were describing, amongst yourselves, bouncing back ideas, is that something you found yourself becoming more comfortable with? Because it's not always the easiest thing. Opening up to an audience, listeners, is one thing. Opening up to each other and sharing the ideas back and forth can be a completely different thing in itself.
Yeah, I think especially with the instrumentation, because it's always kind of been, one guy would write a finished demo, not with no lyrics, and then hey Jack, check this out, and Jack would go, oh yeah, cool, let's do this, let's do that, let's put this there, let's put this there. Now it's sort of the whole building that demo up is very everyone's sort of got a say in it now. Everyone might contribute to it. It's not just one bloke sort of flogging out this entire song themselves. We've got a riff. Oh, boys, check this out. Like, oh yeah, send this to this guy, send this to that guy, and then they'll bring things back, sort of thing. So, doing that, going back to everyone sort of being involved. So
yeah, and I think again, like just with us maturing a bit as well. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that's been a big part of it. And like for myself, especially, like I don't really consider myself a musician in the way, like, especially when I get in a room with these guys, like, I can play 4-chord acoustic songs. And so sometimes it's easy for me to be like, oh, wow, like I'm just not even in the conversation sometimes, but it doesn't feel like that because we have gotten so good at being open with each other and getting each other involved, and realizing that every piece of the puzzle is important.
Listen, never not being able to play 4 chords, some of the biggest songs in the entire world, most of the biggest songs in the world were played with just 4 chords. So, that's all.
True.
Guys, I'm very acutely aware of the challenges that come with being an up-and-coming band in Australia. The scene is tight over there, but I know it's also quite isolated, and breaking out into the bigger, wider world can be extremely challenging. So I want to get your perspective on that, really. What for you is the most challenging thing about trying to break out into the world, and how do you plan to overcome them?
I think first and foremost is trying to establish a solid local base.
Yeah.
So being where we are in Australia, it's quite interesting because we're all the way up north in Darwin, and it's the scene isn't as big as it is in a city like Melbourne or Sydney.
Yeah.
So for us, very much so, it's trying to establish that very solid local presence. Be the go-to heavy band up here. And almost cross whatever bridge after that when we get to it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I did have to look at a map. Admittedly, when I saw Darwin, I thought, I've heard of it. I have no idea where that is in relation to the major big places that exist in Australia. It doesn't come up much, so it felt like a bit of a
Yeah,
rarity to speak to you.
you know, we've
Yeah,
definitely got aspirations to, you know, sort of continue on, release more music, and even tour. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that will come in the future. You know, hopefully next year that'll be cool. I think we will be ready for something like that in the next year or two. So, that'll be fun.
Well, first things first, I mean, you already mentioned earlier on, we'll come back to it. You have your first headliner show in about 3 years on December 3rd at the Railway Club in Darwin, alongside Draft Day, Ask the Axis, and Whisper. How are you feeling about this? And what can people expect?
I'm super excited. We've got a few little tricks up our sleeve for this gig, which is exciting. As well as just feeling like now more than ever, we've got quite a good catalogue of songs that are what I think are not only good songs, but songs that are on Spotify and people know and can listen to and learn, I guess, before coming to the show. Because there's just nothing better than kind of looking out into the crowd and people like screaming along with you and being like, wow, they actually know the songs. Like, it's not just coming to watch a band and being like, oh, they played some cool songs. So there's that. And I think just our level of professionalism has really stepped up in the last few months. We've started running in-ear monitoring, and it's just such a game changer. And so I think everyone in the band's confidence levels are just quite high at the moment. So keen to put on a really good performance for everyone.
Is that what the current focus is in the band right now? Are you working on anything else, or are you just trying to make sure you're as tight as possible come December?
Yeah, we're super vigorous with the rehearsing these days. You know, like I think we had a jam last week, but yeah, we're just jamming all the time. Like Jack was saying, the jam situation is much better now. We're on sort of in-ear monitors, which is really cool. It's kind of really great for heavy bands because, you know, it's such aggressive music. You really miss out on a lot of nuance when you're sitting in a room getting pelted by a drum kit and loud guitar amp. So, you know, hearing everything in crystal clear is game changing, and it's very confronting as well. So it's like, oh, you know, fucking boys that, you know, tighten up. So we're super busy with that. And we're also writing and recording simultaneously.
Oh, you're doing that at the same time right now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so like that's kind of wraps up 2022 effectively. We're in October already. We're coming to the end of the year, so we got to jump to 2023. And it's not so much what your plans are, because I guess a lot of it is based upon what will happen, what you will hope, and what you'll be available to. But what's a realistic goal that you would like to aim to achieve come 2023?
For me, I'd love to do some interstate shows. So again, for everyone that's listening, like sort of listening, that's just shows in bigger cities in Australia. So, you know, branching out of Darwin and, you know, maybe playing a couple shows in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane. Yeah, that's definitely a huge goal, I think, in the band. So something to look into in the next sort of year. 2023 would be great. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, guys, right. Last little bit then. We're going to focus completely on something different then. And it's October. So it is spooky season. And we are a horror movie website as well. It's a major part of what we do. The best and the worst of everything that exists in the horror world. So I wanted to ask you both individually. Take it however you want. What is your perfect Halloween night?
Oh.
My perfect Halloween night is what it was last year, and that's a Halloween party where everyone dresses up.
So you like a costume party, yeah?
Yeah, it's the first one I've proper done. It was great.
Okay, are you? What did you wear?
I was Michael Myers.
Okay, classic. Yep.
Yeah.
How about you, Jack?
Or alternatively, just, you know, a couple horror movies at home and some pizza. Sounds great.
That is true. I enjoy, a Halloween party as well. Getting on the beers and dressing up is always pretty fun. It's a pretty good laugh. I reckon it would be sick to do a like spooky season themed show. Like ideally, maybe we probably won't do it this year, but next year it'd be awesome to kind of have maybe a gig that's just like and encourage everyone to dress up or something for it as well. I reckon that'd be hilarious and just it'd just be so fun.
Tap into our music, you know, a bit. So
Yeah, I mean, think something like what like Ice Nine Kills are doing at the moment, I guess, right?
awesome. Yeah. Great example. Yeah.
All right, guys, finally, I'm not even going to attempt to do it, but in my worst ghost face voice, what's your favorite scary movie?
Halloween 1978.
Oh, right, straight to the classic, yep.
I don't know. I've got the movie that probably scared me the most at the time was probably like The Exorcist, actually. That like all the like spiritual kind of stuff like just freaks me out. So I think that for me is probably like the scariest. Yeah, I'll roll with that.
See, I'm kind of forced to ask some of the basic questions, but I want to dig a little deeper into both your answers there in specifically. Starting with Halloween first, right? So obviously there's a ton of bloody sequels, including the current run of reimagining new pathways that we're currently experience. So what's your thoughts on those? Have you been enjoying them? Have you seen them? And are you looking forward to this final new one, final for now?
I'm so biased when it comes to talking about Halloween because I'm an absolute sucker for like even this shit sequels. Like, so this you know what? More importantly, being alive while this new franchise is happening is awesome. You know, being able to go to the cinema and watch Halloween movies with Michael Myers on the big screen is friggin' crazy because I've grown up around these movies and, you know, I wasn't around in the 70s. None of us were, you know? So that's been really cool. Yeah, keeping a very open mind with the new sequels as well. So I did with the last movie. I've done a social media blackout with this one coming out in a couple of days. And I'll be going into the cinema with a very fresh mind. And I do that. That's like a defense mechanism, so I don't get let down, you know. So
yeah, I understand that. I mean, you've suggested you can find good things in any of the sequels, which I completely understand to a degree. But I have to ask then, forget the best. What's the worst?
Oh, the worst has got to be. There's a couple bad ones.
Yeah.
I like 5 because it's nostalgic. When that one sucks. So it's probably a battle between maybe 6 and Resurrection.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was hoping you're going to say Resurrection because that one's the stinker for me.
Yeah, Resurrection sucks for sure. But it's a little bit nostalgic because it came out in 2002 and I used to rent it at the video shop when I was a kid. So, you know.
Yeah, I think I have that nostalgia for H20. That was right around when I was hitting my teenage years. So
yeah,
it was perfect.
Cool. 90s vibes, that one. Yeah.
Jack, Exorcist. So have you followed along with any of the sequels that came out or some of the sort of prequel stuff?
A little bit. So I think, what is it? There's The Exorcist, The Last Exorcism. Is Blair Witch part of the Exorcist series? No.
I haven't seen Exorcist 2 or 3.
Yeah, Exorcist 1, 2, and 3. And then you've got Exorcist prequels, Dominion, and another one. I can't remember what they are. And then, of course, recently, or the last couple of years, there was a TV show, but I didn't see the TV show.
Yeah, I didn't watch the TV show.
The third one's got a huge cult following, doesn't it?
The third one is, if you've never seen the third one, I would totally advise you do. It's, in my opinion, it's as up there with the first one in regards to the scares and the chills and stuff like that. Just don't ever see the second one. That is notoriously terrible and for good reason.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember the second one being terrible, and I think that actually put me off watching the third. But they also, for me, kind of blur into each other a little bit because they're pretty similar in so many ways for me. And like, it's not like I really remember like the whole storyline of these movies. It's more like I just remember being fucking scared.
Well, that's then the question, really. So, what you can remember from being scared? What do you remember? A specific moment, a scene, an image, or a feeling that kind of defines it for you, that makes you go, "Oh, I know it scared me."
I reckon they just, especially in the first one, they just did well between like the music and the slow build up of you know something's going to happen, and you're waiting for it, and then it's kind of like, oh, why did I still shit myself even though I knew this was coming? That was probably the biggest thing I remember, just being like, oh, I know, but bugger, it still fucking got me, kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest thing I remember. I must admit, I'm nowhere near as big of a horror film fiend as like Nolly or some of the other boys.
Yeah, I reckon I could talk to you about horrors like on a whole episode, mate. Like, to be honest.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like you can do a podcast on it, bro. I love that you prepare for horror movies as if you're going to play a show or something. Media blackout, like clear the mind.
Yeah, yeah, right.
No,
yeah.
You know,
this new movie's huge. It's like it's going to be the last one in the franchise of David Gordon Green's run. That's massive. We're not going to see another Halloween movie for fuck knows when.
Oh, you know? Come on, man. In 5 years' time, it'll be another go at it. It'll be, that never stays dead. I'm very cynical about it, but I'm just kind of like, it's going to follow the same. The problem was for me is I didn't actually like the last one, the second one of this new trilogy. I didn't like it. So while I liked the first one, I didn't like the second. So I'm really on the kind of like, let's wait and see.
2018 is better than Kills, I must say.
Absolutely. Are you guys, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I guess maybe you might be, but I want to see, are you having the same problems we're having in the UK in regards to being able to see the new Hellraiser?
There's a fucking new Hellraiser? Why didn't I not know that?
Yeah, I was about to say, I haven't even heard of the new Hellraiser.
Then you are having the same problem. Yeah, there's a new Hellraiser. It came out on Friday on Hulu in America. However, Hulu is not available in most territories outside the US, and it's not anything else. So it's caused a bit of chaos and basically encouraging a shit ton of piracy because obviously people see it and can't. And I just wondered if it was the same issue as we're having in the UK as perhaps you guys were having there. But yes, there is a new Hellraiser, so maybe go look into that if you fancy it.
It says we're able to watch it on a platform called Binge and Foxtel Premium, they're both very accessible for us in Australia.
Lucky you. Well,
I'm going to watch this.
I'll go have a look if it's on Binge. I'm actually going to go have a look. So I think we've got it at the moment.
Reviews suggest it's pretty good.
Okay. Ooh, that might be a good one for the weekend.
Have you seen it, mate?
No, because of the simple fact that we're a reputable website. If we watched it, talked about it, it would be clear that we had pirated it because there's no legal way to watch it in the UK as of right now.
That's frustrating.
Okay. Yeah,
it is frustrating. But but here's the thing, I kind of look at it this way. There are a ton of cool horror movies coming out. If they're gonna make one difficult for me to see, I just won't watch it. I'll watch the others then. So like on Terrifier, I don't know if you've heard of Terrifier. Terrifier 2 is out.
Oh yeah. I'm so excited to see the second Terrifier.
It's out in the UK, it's out on the 24th, I think, on streaming, Amazon and places like that. So I'll imagine that if it's coming here, it must be worldwide as well.
Yeah. I was looking it up on YouTube the other day. Terrifier 2.
Aye, fun.
Keen for that. I watched. Did you watch? I watched Jeepers Creepers Reborn the other night.
I've not seen it. No, I haven't actually. Don't think I've watched a Jeepers Creepers since the first one.
Okay.
Again,
you should keep it that way for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, no good.
It's like without going too much into a deep dive of it because it's so dodgy ground. Again, we had to take a stand on that because of the director's past. And we were like, okay, we can't touch these Jeepers Creepers movies. We just can't look at them. We can't talk about them. We don't want to watch them because of his very, very bad past. It was that really more than anything else. So after, pre the website, pre what we did, I'd seen Jeepers Creepers. And then I watched the movie, whatever it's called. Clown House? It's Clown House, I think it is, from the 80s. which is the one that's where the issues have arisen from. And then it was like, oh shit, there's all this really bad stuff related to it. Oh no.
Yeah, right. Same director. I've never seen that movie before.
If you don't know about the director and stuff, go Google it. I'm not going to talk about it here because it's messed up. But you can
fair enough, bro.
All right, guys, we'll call it there then, because we've been going for 35 minutes, and I know you said you wanted to get some dinner. So with that in mind, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Deaf Curse, it's out now. If you are in the local area, or even if you're in the area, the Railway Club in Darwin on December 3rd, go check you guys out live. I wish I could fly over there, but it's a little bit expensive just to come for one show.
Yeah, fair.
Good luck for that. Hey, who knows? In a couple of years' time, hopefully I'll see you over in the UK. Gents, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
We would love that, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, man. Great chat.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?